Okay, we're recording.
Thank you. Absolutely. I have the draft.
That's been a discussion, that's not the minutes from February, we're gonna have draft.
You want to?
No, we're good, we're officially in.
Okay. So, what I did just a little bit, just to play with it, to see what we can do. Then I'll just digress a little bit into Providence. We like this because they had some video.
Yeah.
And we kind of clunky to get video, but I'll show you video. And then, so we'll go back to it. So, business, Andy had a lot of suggestions, but this is it. So this is the page you go to, the map. And then we can put this down the side, other places to go to, like, we made one for new business that tells about Sardinia. We have a lot of work to do on content, but the main thing, going back to the main thing, is this layout, because once we get this layout settled, then I can fill in the rest and we can change the rest. But this is what they're going to do. And you can't tell them to change it too many times. But, so our decision tonight is, do we have 3 of these or 4? And what are we going to do with this space down here? We'll go back and now go to community.
What is that photo of Bob?
It's Broadbrook elevation.
Okay.
Then we build another one with the active ones there, just a video over here. And then you can have actually a business slideshow. This shouldn't be in community. I don't know why. So I can move it to the other one. But here's a slideshow. Just to show you kind of what you can do. And the video, after I talk to you guys, tomorrow I'll call this guy who's going to build it for us, at least the front page, and ask him some more what I can do. But right now, the only place I think you can put a video is in what they call a freeform thing. This is a video. And I just took it off there.
We did that promotional video, didn't you, or not?
We did, yes. We have the promotional. We put that in there too.
I would just look at that.
So we can have some videos. What isn't going to, when you click on the, like, I'll go back to here. When you click on this, well, this is the business slideshow. Well, if I go back here, it doesn't just start up. You got to do that second click, which is too bad.
Well, because it's really on a YouTube video, so it's a link.
Yeah, but look at, there's something else I wanted to show you. Andy found this, it's Windsor. This is Windsor. And go here, but then if we go back up to economic development, then you can see it starts up right away. That'd be nice. Getting back, so going back to
Just copy the video, and every time they say Windsor, just say East Windsor.
I know, that's true. I said, this is great. We don't have to write anything.
Hello.
Hi.
Economic development?
Yeah, economic development, sit at the table.
Okay, where?
In a chair.
Who's the chair? You want to sit over
I
there?
know.
Oh, Julie.
Yeah.
Spin this one
okay.
around.
I'm gonna-
Flip that right around. This one's
Oh,
for
yeah.
Julie as well.
Okay.
Got it?
To the name.
And,
Okay.
sure.
Joel.
Joel?
I was told that when I was signing up for the beautification committee with, gosh, what is her name in the office?
Erica. Oh, no.
No.
Melissa, perhaps. or-
Amanda, I
Amanda,
think, yeah.
yeah.
So she was like, because I was just telling her things I really love and stuff and some of my strengths. And she's like, you should really look into the economic development group because it sounds like it's something that you enjoy.
Well, we're just developing.
Jillian Hubbard.
We're looking for people because we're kind of starting to get energized.
The Jillian? Jillian?
Yeah.
And your name?
Well, we should go
Joel.
now.
Joel, he's what?
Joel?
Mill Street, yeah.
Gil
He
Hayes?
technically doesn't live in, he lives in Enfield.
Well,
But we're gonna go,
Yeah, okay.
What's your name off, Joel?
yeah.
So what's your name? What's
Yeah.
your name, Gil?
40 minutes.
Gilbert. I'm Gilbert Hayes. I'm up on Rye Street.
Oh,
Happen
nice
to
to
meet
meet
you, Lillian.
you. Nice to meet you.
And this is our planning and zoning person, Ruben.
Nice to meet you, Ruben.
And Karen?
Chairman?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Bob White,
Hi, hi, Bob. I know, I remember your face.
Andy Hoffman,
Andy Goffman.
Hi, Andy.
and Margaret, his
Awesome.
sister.
Well, obviously,
Private
I'm new
secretary.
here, so
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, you want to give me a quick little overview on what it is that you guys do? I know, it's like, just hard to explain in a couple sentences, but I'm curious.
I'll let Eric do it, because he's the chairman.
Chairman, right?
He's the appointer.
Right.
I'm the first selectman, I'm not on this committee,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna run for reelection, so in November I'll have nothing to do.
You'll have a plethora of time.
And I will
Where to
have,
put it?
but I'm gonna make this committee part of my pleasant time.
There you go. You know, I mean, the Economic Development Commission, I mean, we started to, try to develop the town.
Right.
We're all volunteers, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a tough situation. I mean, all the other towns around us are hired guns. But that's not a bad thing, that's just reality. But I mean, what our goal here is to try to educate and promote the town as best we can. I've been on the board since, 2003. So, we've done a few things. We've got the sewer system in. We worked with some zoning, works with the zoning folks, and just trying to figure out what we need. But again, we're more of a rural town versus an Enfield or some of the others. So we're rural. So the folks in town, we really have to get them kind of on the business side, right? So the good thing is that most of our businesses are smaller businesses versus corporates, mostly homegrown. So that's a good thing because it keeps the tax base level. But the goal is to really, at the end of the day, our goal as citizens of the town, or however you want to call it, residents of the town, is to try and keep our taxes low. Right? How do you do it? Either save money or you build more businesses. But it's a process. It's not a business. I own businesses. We're all involved in businesses. This doesn't happen quickly. But we work together to try and educate the folks. So I mean, the goal of the Economic Development Commission is just trying to make it easier for businesses to work with the town. Right now, we're working on a website. I think we felt that was the next step, right? I mean, we're just getting into the website program. We feel with the casino coming on board, or pretty close to where it's coming on board, that East Windsor is going to be found, and we really need to get our ducks in a row.
Right.
So we've been working it. We can work with the businesses, find out what some of their needs are. Andy's done a great job talking to those folks. But we really got to get to ground zero, and that's where we're at this stage of the game. So we're not.
Oh, good.
We're trying to build
it.
Well, we're building up the EDC, trying to get there. But I mean, we need to have the tools, and we need to move forward. So that's kind of the regeneration of the Economic Development Corporation. Economic Development Commission. At the end of the day, the Board of Selectmen make all the decisions. We can only help them out. We have a little bit of a budget. We do meet. We've met with some businesses in the past as far as gatherings. We have. We've done it in the past where once a year we get together with the businesses and some of the politicians. But again, we kind of backtracked a little bit of that. We really wanted to focus on
Back to basics.
back to the basics, right? Let's get a website, because most people in the old days, you know, they call it.
The internet didn't
The
exist.
internet. So most people are gonna know if they wanna move to East Windsor before you know, before they even pick up the phone.
Right.
So we're trying to develop the front end. Once we can develop a front end, once we can work with, you know, you know, planning and zoning and the planning department, then we can have the tools to go out there and start working with these folks. You know, and a great example of this too is the casino. I mean, how did we get the casino, right? It was.
Do we have it yet? Because I've heard
Well, I mean,
that it,
let's even just talk about how we got to the conversation.
Ned might not want us to.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
So that's why it's like,
So-
ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, just excuse me for interrupting.
Yeah.
But over the last 3 years, you know, oh, we got it, then no, we don't.
Industry report.
Well,
Sorry,
So,
what's that?
it's been up and down, and now it's going down because Ned's now. But
Right.
just a couple of months ago, there was some legislative hurdles that we had to
Right.
get by, the federal government had to recognize the compact, they did that. So in February, we started to move forward.
Right.
And they tore down some houses that the tribal nations, or MMCT, gave the, Department of Consumer Protection $1 million, so they wouldn't.
Just basically to secure like we're serious,
Yeah,
right?
instead to say we won't have to pay, it won't cost you anything to approve the casino.
Right.
So that was a step forward now, like you said, the governor is kind of saying, I kind of like maybe something in Bridgeport or also sports betting.
Yeah.
It seems to be a big money issue, but if you talk to, we talked to MMCT just last week, and they said we're moving forward, we're
Okay.
getting financing, in about 3 months they should be going, so.
Oh,
we'll
well,
see.
that's good. I did see that they had brought the,
The homes they demolish.
Yeah.
it's all levels.
So foundation.
Yeah, the foundation.
And I think the next permit, if I'm not mistaken, is for a retaining wall.
Yeah, they want to stabilize the wall behind.
Yeah,
it,
smart.
down, and then they'll start building the casino.
so, I mean, but to add to this, you know, and I think even though that you don't see a structure,
Right.
and I'm gonna tout the EDC was one of the folks that really got the casino to look at East Windsor. I mean, they were looking between East Windsor and Windsor Locks,
Right.
right? What we did as EDC, we brought a gentleman on board to kind of work with us. And the thing is, we needed to go as a collective group. So we contacted the movie theaters, he talked to Walmart, that whole property,
Yeah.
he assembled it and said, here we go to the casino. And after we had the meetings, you know, the EDC was involved in the initial meetings, the town meetings, and how we figured it out, they decided this was a better place to be. And at the end of the day, it's either
It is
one.
a good spot
Well,
as
you
far
don't
as
wanna
like
hear-
where the
Location
highway
is-
and
yeah,
everything,
right.
yeah.
So, I mean, I have mixed reviews, whether if it was in East Windsor or Bridgeport, that may have been one thing, but it was East Windsor or Windsor Locks. Well, I don't want to be the guy next to the casino, we wanted to be the guy, you know,
Right.
where the casino. If it's gonna be next
Exactly.
door, let's take the benefit of it.
Right.
So the EDC, at that point, showed you that when we work together, we can kind of, you know, put it together. So we put a sewer system about 8 years ago, the EDC really educated the town to get a sewer system,
Well, that's one of the things that drew me here.
right. And so, yeah.
So thanks.
So we as a group, when we work together,
Yeah.
can really influence and make it happen. So once the casino made their announcement that they're coming to East Windsor, you know, the next step is, okay, how are we gonna handle this? And so, you know, we've been working on a website because we think that people are gonna say, well, wait a minute, if there's a casino, we need hotels, we need restaurants, what's gonna support gas
Right.
stations? You know, what's gonna help
Need to
support
support
that?
the amount of people coming
Well, we
in.
need to be set up for that. That's, as the chairman, I mean,
What are you guys using for a program for making the website?
Well, okay,
so,
that's where you came in.
yeah, so that's where we're at.
Perfect.
So that's where the
And I
EDC.
segued back on track.
Yeah, so that's what the EDC is we're really now going back to basics,
Yeah,
and we're trying to get the website so we can get the information, so the people, when they search East Windsor, they
that
can, at
comes
least they can
up.
start,
Right.
better than what we had before. So,
Well, that's
yeah, and
fantastic.
So that's where we're at, so we're not really movers and shakers, we're not conquering the world, we're really just building the foundation
And what
to build up.
the code behind this is a content management system, and to make a short story long, we have a website that's built by the same company, that's our town website,
Mhm.
and it's pretty good for a town website, because that's what they do, we develop websites for towns, and
Yeah,
it's easy to change. Most of the people in the town hall can go in and change their departments.
That's convenient.
And let me just add one more thing, Bob,
Yeah.
to finish, to wrap up my soapbox speech, because I know if I don't say it, it'll be brought up. At the end of the day, once we get the website, our real goal here is to educate the town leaders with the revenue generated by the casino or something to actually hire a full-time, a full-time economic development person that's focused on the development of town. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where we really need to be, and that's really the goal here,
Right.
is to get the,
How can
get
we
the
get to
foundation,
that?
how do we get to that level? Once we get to that level, then the commission can support a person like that and really expand. We need some revenue, which is the casino, but we also need the foundation so
Right.
that there's somebody who steps in and says, okay, I got all the tools to sell. Because at the end of the day, this is a bakery. We
Right.
gotta have some
You need to have the
cupcakes.
recipes.
Gotta have the recipe, and you gotta have the cupcakes in the shelf, so.
So
So that's my speech. So that's really where we're kind of headed towards right now,
Okay.
is to really get a person, because getting one person can really meet with the locals, meet with the politicians down in Hartford, and do whatever we need to do, because right now it's not. So there you go.
Cool.
And,
That's our goal.
so, like with the town, you see how you get departments, and if you click on Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
yes, and you, so the Parks and Rec person, Melissa, has created all the things. She can change all these things, so it's pretty easy to work with. It's very high level. If you look at actual code underneath it, it's complex. But so that's what now we have this, and this is just the beginning, and right at the beginning. What we are going to do, and because it's so limited to what this doesn't have a full skill that a website that you pay a lot of money for would
Right.
have. And for example, it was funny, we like this Providence one that has a drone and coming
My
in.
brother has a drone.
Well, that's good.
It's not what, it's who you know.
Yeah, but I'm going to show you something too. We got a guy with a drone too.
Oh, perfect.
But the problem is we can't put this thing on our website, so we kind of compromise that. Oh, okay, we'll go with this, and it kind of rotates. But then we went to another one. With this one, this is sign up, and it's kind of cool. It has 4 divisions, and click on business. It goes into the business and has drop-down menus and things. So, but going back to where we are, this is the beginning, and I'm going to, once I get your idea, in fact, the goal of today is to design this front page. And right now, kind of like that one where I put business up there, community, and connect. We want to have data, we want a fourth one, we can put that there. And this down here, I'm going to talk to the guy tomorrow. And we kind of, right now, there's nothing down here of any value. And,
They're just fillers.
yeah, so we're wondering what we want down here. And I think, I would suggest maybe 4 things that match these things up here, or 3 things. And if you click on it, you go to it.
I even talked to him about to say that, put it so you don't have to scroll down.
Well, yeah, and I don't think you will. I think.
What's below those pictures in the business section? Do you have a section, when you scroll down, is that each one individualized below?
Well, yeah, so and again.
So you have the drop down, and then when you scroll down, there's also the horizontal
This
visual?
is what I started, but I was just doing to see what I could do with it, just to show you guys basically. Because once we get this initial layout, then we can populate. But with business, this is our location.
Right.
And then new business, just examples, so just like what the other one, if you go back to the website, our regular website, that Parks and Rec had a whole bunch of different things you could do.
Right.
So
Parks
that's
and Rec
the-
has a great website page. I've been on there for my kids' stuff, and it's
Yeah.
very user-friendly.
Yeah,
So
so
that's the biggest thing.
we have to develop a similar thing.
Yeah.
Then, another thing that just when we do a capability is this is community, and so we can do stuff with that. One thing I was just showing we could do, and maybe I should talk, there seems to be, and I have to talk to the guy tomorrow, seems to be only one place you can put videos. When they come, it'll, you have to click on this, and then you get your video.
So it doesn't autoplay, is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
So I think this is probably where my talking to Amanda comes in. So I was telling her, just in general, getting more people out there, like getting the word out there to more residents for getting them to, you know, meetings and knowing and just being involved in the community is so huge. So having them be able to go to one place like this is amazing. And you guys have a YouTube page, right?
yes, we do.
So having the YouTube page link on here,
Yeah.
so if, you know, all the videos aren't showing, because you'll have the most recent, but if you
Well,
have
no,
like
but
somewhere at the
actually,
top
let me
in
go
the
back.
content area, you know,
This is our regular video. But
We
you get
are
out here.
going to be on YouTube right now, and that was
Yeah,
Oh.
you
we're
get out-
videoing
yeah,
it, and
they're
it
being
and it live
recorded.
streams as well as you
Oh.
can see the recording later.
hi, everyone.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll go down.
Actually, I did know that, but I didn't realize they were on right now.
Yeah, so,
Because
yeah.
I was watching it the other day.
Yeah, so you go through, you can get all the videos you want. They're a huge history.
I think that's fantastic. So transferring that data to the website is gonna be huge.
Yeah. And, so let's, get back to this, then. So, and what I'll show you is something that I've got to check into, but I'm sure the guy, when I asked him, he said no. Where is,
So Bob, from a technical standpoint, if we can't have autoplay because of a technical hangup, could we have links that would?
yeah,
That's
so
what
that's
that
what
is.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
We can have links. And then I'll show you a drone. Let's see. This is a guy, he's a younger person, kind of starting out.
Mhm.
But we went down to industrial park, and he's going to come back probably next week, or maybe at the end of this week with a video he's put together
Yeah.
and show us what he can do. But this is,
So here's a little something that could, you know, bulk it up a little bit, also highlight, you know, different, you know, family farms like the Sime Family Farm.
Yes.
And just in general like that. We could even do small, you know, videos with the drone at these different locations and, you know, have a monthly business that we're highlighting within the town. And so, you know, they can talk about it at their location, more people will, you know, be going to the website to check out the quick video. I'm not sure, you know, if this person's willing to donate their time or if we could find somebody that is.
yeah, maybe we'll have to borrow your leadership.
Yeah, my brother. And so,
Yeah,
you know, we could, even if we just created something really simple
yeah.
and then just like highlighted them, you know, and it'll give them a, you know, little go girl or go guy, you know what I mean? So I think that could be really good for boosting and just stimulating, you know, positive efforts.
You're absolutely right, and that's, we intended to do that. And-
Yeah, and that'll be a good way too to like
Yeah.
cross over,
and
you know,
also,
get people to know that there's a website.
frequently, you'll get people to come back.
Exactly.
So, and so this is some of what the house done. Which is good, you've got audio, or this is. Yeah, so this one's good. He's trying to get into real estate.
Yeah.
And he's good, he splices them together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we do have some video, we can
Right.
make some video and put it on the website.
And it
Worth
could-
mentioning, we were also gonna have some little 15, 20-second snippets of some of the leading business people. The reason I located in East Windsor and the things you've done to help us are,
Or what?
you did a phenomenal job of helping us rebuild our roof when it collapsed.
Okay, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. And actually, actually here. This would be so this is another thing. But,
That's more just video footage, right?
right, exactly, that's not a drone.
It's less exciting.
Yeah.
But, it's good though. Like, different things like that would
Well,
be really great with the
people
movement and a little
talking.
bit of music,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So we'll see.
And, even the different locations that you use, you can have them set up like a little day. If they're interested, they can invite some people, like gather people to their location and have like an overview of people waving or whatever, and just get that real sense of community. I think that would be really great.
Okay, but what we have to do today.
Yeah, that's a tomorrow thing.
No, I mean, like today, I'm asking for a volunteer, what do we have to do today?
Decide on the content
Well, you gotta
and
decide,
the format.
you gotta decide in what.
So I've built websites before, and it's not as simple as just like picking out content. It's so much more involved than that. I think that having a streamlined look and, with the different areas and websites that we have already within the town, I think that mimicking that so that it's a good transition and everything flows really well together, I think that'll be really important. So I think that, looking at the way that Parks and Rec makes it simplified and the way that the regular, in general, town website works, kind of mimicking that so it's just second nature for the people would be.
Yeah, but what we have to do tonight,
Yeah,
because all that you said is approved and we'll do it, but the first thing we have to do is simply make this front page. You
right.
get the front page, and then you click on anything else, it's still going back to our normal website.
So what are you asking, that you have 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3 or 4. This is our normal website. It's got 4 things up there, and then you, like you say, it's got all the departments, and all the departments.
I like the drop down like that. I think that the front should definitely drop down like that.
Okay. Interesting enough, there's a lot to go here.
Mhm.
There's a lot about the region, airports and colleges and hospitals. But we should put that in the EDC.
Mimic that, yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, obviously business, community,
What-
and connect, but also be contact us. Would be that.
Well, I would think that the business would be all the forms that we need to get out to the businesses to start. I like the community, I would do the community the same thing as you just had. The connect would be all the phone numbers, and I'm thinking about a third button that says we're open. And maybe it's just that, all it is
Yeah.
maybe testimonies from different businesses that says, like you say, but a written testimony, so people can print it out. Like maybe top 10 businesses, it's just a written test.
Yeah.
They want to print something out. I love the videos, we gotta do videos, but again, if I'm in California, I'm doing a site search review,
Yeah.
I want to be able to print something out and hand it to somebody and say,
Yeah.
here's their demographics, here's their contacts, here's their forms, and here's a couple of write-ups from some of the businesses about the town. Drops right down the.
Yeah, you definitely want to have that just as, in general, you want those reviews because it shows,
I think the
Solid
fourth
foundation.
heading we have to have is statistics. It's important to know
right?
what our tax rate is,
Yeah, well, we could do that either under businesses,
but it's a
or
very,
we can have its
it's a very
own
important,
box.
it's a very important topic.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere in
That's
the
okay.
town process, digital, of the application process, do you got
Yeah, that's what we want to
the,
put in our
wetlands?
business.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to have a flow chart, we have a flow chart, we had a flow chart.
Ruben put together a very good flow chart,
Yeah.
and I took it to Grant Stanley, and he added what the building department has to do. Ruben has to integrate that and talk to Rand to make sure it's complete, but I think once that's done, it's the story. It even
So-
tells you how many
so what-
hours
yeah,
and
yeah.
days it is between
Yeah.
the time you apply and you can
Sure.
expect to get an answer.
So what Andy's saying is, I agree, so you have businesses, community, connect, and data, and under the connect, maybe that's where you learn about some more, connect with our businesses, we're open.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the 4 things, you're right, because if you're gonna slap something on somebody's desk,
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna have to put on there.
Yeah, I think the
I'm gonna
data
have to
is a
excuse
huge
myself, I've got another obligation. Sorry, but I trust you guys for
Okay, so
coming up with the right
I guess
answers
we'll-
for this. And
The works.
I'd like to ask
Yeah.
that we consider on the next agenda, whether we do or not, it's a lot up to your leadership advice, but I'd like to consider filling the vacancies on this
Oh, yeah.
committee at the next meeting. And I've done some homework with
Well,
the,
that topic is an open topic.
it's open.
Well, we're always, as long as there's seats available.
That's how you got here, Bob.
Yeah, as long as your seat's available.
Let's get someone here.
The other thing is, I'll give you a chance to have the,
But, right, we can say how do you attract people, is you gotta have a game plan, and we have to have a little bit of
I think,
a foundation.
yeah,
Then we can say, listen, this is what we're doing, this is our goal, here's what our stretch is, so. If
I
we're gonna attract
think-
people to the board, we gotta have a game plan.
My personal opinion is, I'd hate to think that somebody didn't come because we were waiting too long and we missed an opportunity. I in fact have talked to
Then bring 'em in.
a particular, okay, great. And the other thing is, I'll take
So
the
is it
opportunity to report on some contact I've had with rural development.
Can I just ask you guys to approve the notes that you had before you?
Do we have to approve the notes? Because that's
It
not.
wasn't a legal
That's
meeting.
not a legal meeting. Yeah, I don't think we should.
All right, see you next meeting, guys.
I think it's just,
Unless we got so much going on, I'd be happy to attend a special meeting.
Okay, so I think we decided we're gonna have business, community, contact, and data.
perfect.
And when we go here, we're gonna have drop downs.
Yep.
Okay?
Is the view edit group revision, all that stuff there, is that visible
Oh,
to just
no.
us, right? Because we're editing?
Yes, what this is, the public can look at this.
That's what I was,
Yeah, and so it's not live, but also to get in here, this allows us to like.
now is part of it published? Because it says unpublished.
No,
Okay.
if I go in, let's see, what do we, go here, for another reason. So if I wanted to edit this page.
Right.
say, and that's what I'm saying, it's the high level language, so you see how simple it is, title, subtitle,
Yeah,
group, and then you can go into general information. And here's where that picture is, you stick the picture in here.
yeah, that makes it a lot.
And it's
More
almost like
simplified.
Word, you can put, you can type in these things, and
Mhm.
add a new file. And let's see, if I go, let me try another. Yeah. You takes you out. I go in here. That's. Oh yeah, well, here, see where this is create content?
Mm-hmm.
So here now I can create a bulletin and
Yep.
the good thing is gallery, slideshow gallery, freeform document is probably the one that can do most. So this really is the content management system. And that's why I'm limited to what I can do. That's why I
Right.
have videos that automatically start up because maybe in time they'll change it.
Yeah.
Now, does that-
Yeah, whoever can do that, it shouldn't be
It's
too,
true.
too hard of a click for
I
them.
mean, I'm going to talk to the president of the company tomorrow. And so, I'll suggest that we're not doing it yet.
Yeah.
So, but okay, so that's basically what I wanted to get is those 4 topics. And then so when you guys meet again, we'll have the,
Well, you already got the community page done, right, because we can grab that off somewhere else.
yeah, then we start filling in,
The data- the
filling in
data-
the 4 ones.
The data you already have,
Yeah.
we have all the data off of
Yeah,
whatever's
so-
available to us,
right.
we can put that right up.
I like that having that data next to the connect,
Yeah.
it'll be 4 things, just like the East Windsor page, and if we could mimic that drop down like that,
Yeah.
that'll be nice if you
Yeah.
can do that.
And we can just populate whatever form should, you actually have a lot of the content to get
We do,
And it
80% of it
crosses.
yeah. I think, correct?
like 80% done. You got enough content already
Well,
to get.
one thing is having the content, the other thing is loading it in.
Well, no, I get that, but it's not like you gotta find the content.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got 80% of the content
Right,
we already have
yeah,
available.
making it attractive, that's interesting too, that's the challenge. But we'll work on that. Once we get this main page set up, then we can start working, we can change things constantly. And we can't control it, after the main page, we're in control, that's good.
Well, what do you think you wanna do down there?
Well, I think what I'd like to do is just put the 4 things down here. And I don't even know.
Could you scroll down? I'm curious to see what, okay, so that's the 4 things that direction.
Yeah, I like them all across, but maybe we could have 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe that would be a different way to do it. And I'm not even sure this has the capability of clicking on a picture.
A lot of times those are revolving, just like images or like
Yeah.
messages to people and stuff like that. I think that especially to keep it user-friendly for the phones too, like having, I mean, you could even do the drop down and have the scroll down thing and they could mimic each other.
Yeah. This is what they call a bulletin, and this does go from one to another.
Right.
So we might be able, we could, I don't know, we want to put it, I don't know if we want to put it down here.
Is that the full picture? Like, or is the sign getting cut, like, is the sign getting cut off because of the depth of the picture? Or is it like the actual picture itself?
In what it, again, this, I was just putting this up to show what can be done,
Mhm.
and not to make it, so really, like, you go back to, I guess these pictures you can't control.
Yeah,
Like this should have to be up.
yeah, that's what I was wondering, is if it
Yeah.
can shift up a little
In
bit.
In the airport, definitely is, see, we can Photoshop the pictures and make them fit.
Yeah,
But that was more general ideas and trying to get ones, and we got a lot to do.
I know.
So, we could spend time making the page look pretty, or we could put in 80% of the content. It's gonna take some
I
time,
think
probably a
that-
couple months.
I might be biased, but I think that having 20% and it looking good is
Okay.
more important than 80%.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
having, you want to have that visual attraction,
yes,
and even it, like, people are gonna notice if it looks like crap and there's 80% and versus like 20% of greatness.
no, I hear what you're saying, and I agree, we're not going live until it's
Right,
really
right,
looks
right.
perfect. And maybe we'll add more content to it at the time.
Yeah.
And we change content, but we'll make it look good.
Yeah,
We'll
the
look
thing-
professional.
Right, the thing about putting in content too is, you can upload all the content that you want and literally just have your people or whoever like chunking away at it slowly, because you don't have to have everything published at the same time.
Right.
And so, once things are polished, then they go click publish for that one in particular item, and then you still have all the content, in the backdrop, and if somebody has 10 minutes or whatever, wants to polish up a couple things, it kind of gives puts it in the queue to be done, I guess. So, I don't know if that's,
Makes sense.
well, thanks.
Okay, well, next time, we'll have a much better website. But it won't be published yet. I figure Andy and I are hoping to do something.
That's a good goal.
Okay, I'm done.
Good job.
Well, thanks for letting me join and talk.
Are you,
But it's good ideas.
to join the EDC?
I'd be curious about doing that, if that's an option.
Yeah, well, there's 2 openings plus 2 alternates, so we can use 4 more people.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is fill out
Another one of those
another one of
applications.
those applications.
You
There's
filled
not
it out
enough
yet?
lines on that. I gotta tell you.
Then
Like,
the lines explain why.
Right, for why you want to be a part of something.
When
4
you got-
lines isn't
We
enough.
got four
You gotta have the
Four
elementary.
vacancies, you don't need very well. I do call, I'm mobile.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, geez. Because, well, you know what it is there's a lot of questions within that one question, and then there's only 4 lines to answer it.
Pick your best four
Yeah,
lines.
exactly.
Or you could actually come another sheet, that's not necessary.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Anything else?
On the website, I think we're good. Any questions?
No, just Jillian would probably want to know the process that we
I would
we
love to
would
know the
recommend,
process.
and then it goes to the Board of Selectmen and appointed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we can see that. Well, it all goes through Bob, or it goes through the first selectman's office.
How often do you guys meet?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Well, the board of selectmen does EDC once a month.
Yeah.
Once a month, 3
Monday,
meetings.
third Monday.
Third Monday of the month.
One additional thing, Eric, is that Ruben and Bob and I are going over and visit Jim Burke over in Windsor on the 24th. He's the economic development director over there, and he's been very successful. And Ruben is really going to be our economic development
Right
director,
now, yeah.
as it is right now anyway.
Yeah.
And the good thing is he's very energetic, and he really is anxious to do economic development work, and that's all good. Burke has a tremendous amount of experience, like 25 years, of knowing the right people, the right organizations, to get business placement in your town. And I thought that the movement, starting out here in Connecticut, that it would be worth him going over and spending some time talking to Burke and finding out. Burke was very open to me when I was over there 4 or 5 years ago, as to what he thought we should do, any organizations we could and should contact to try to make a step in the right direction. So having Ruben
Just getting out there.
in this spot is a really good first step for it. So we're going to talk to him on Friday the 24th.
That's a good step. It's a good step. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
I mean, economic development is simple, but I'm in agreement with all, with everything that everyone has ever said. But it's a full-time job. You got a network.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it out there, and you got to be the same guy that goes to every meeting down in Hartford all the time. Once they start getting used to you, and they say, hey, guess what I heard? Guess who's doing what? And the network begins. We have not had that at all.
How often do we
And the
meet?
impact of a good find is really pretty dramatic. I know a fellow who's on the planning and zoning in South Windsor, and he says that the new Coca-Cola facility there is going to have a market value of $80 million. Hit that by 70%, that's the taxable number, okay? That would bring in something like $1.9 million in our
And
town.
what's the size of that facility?
I don't know, I've read some numbers, I think it's 1 million square feet.
All right, how many acres do you need for a 1 million square foot building? 20, 30, 35? All right, so how many 35 acre sites does the town of East Windsor have? 2. Again, what we found,
Town owned.
so
Now, does
again,
that include
right?
those of you piece together, Ruben? Like, there are a lot of
That's why
people-
this is a big formula for this town to really get to the next level, right? 1, we got a network, okay, number 1. 2, we have to be realistic of what available land is out there. If there isn't enough available land as one contiguous, we need to come up, like we did with the folks with the casino, we need to dial for dollars and say, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? And then we gotta figure out that, okay, so if Coca-Cola calls up, I got 3 spots. Bob, what's your spot? Tom, what's your spot? Henry, what's your spot? So you gotta have, it's not just, hey, let's go out there and find Coca-Cola land in here, because you gotta ask them what you want. We may be more geared towards, and like we've talked about, is that 5 acre. Anybody wants a 5 acre site, that's what we're gonna cater to, because that's what we can cater to very well. So we want the incubator guys, we want we want something that's smaller. If we have the big 30 acres, we go out there and push that 30 acres, but that's what I'm saying, is so there's a lot of, be realistic of what we've got.
I think we have the inventory.
We've got to,
We have
we're not
to.
gonna get Amazon, we're not gonna get Fire Pro, because if you need 1 million square foot, we don't have that. Unless we get 4 people together and say, hey, listen, if we can find, are you 4 guys in it?
Down on Route 5 is a really great place to chat with the homes.
Right.
You know, when I talked to Larry Cribble
Yeah.
a long time ago, I kind of threw one out, just kind of for a laugh. I said, Larry, you got a lot of land here on Route 5. He owns a good share of the developable land on Route 5, a lot of the parking lot. And I said to him,
We agree.
would you be willing to swap us land here on Route 5 for land away from Route 5? Because you can park
absolutely
cars,
agree.
you can park cars anyplace.
Absolutely, we agree.
And believe it or not, his answer was, yeah.
Of course he would, because he's gonna get more revenue for his, but he doesn't wanna park cars all the way up. But the problem is that somebody needs to do that,
Yeah,
right?
you're
So,
absolutely right.
so you got, we're back to the whole thing, is that we've got a network, we gotta make sure people know that East Windsor's out there, right? Number 2, we gotta be realistic of what we can bring in instantly, what's gonna take a little bit of work, what's so far out that it's like, this is not what we're gonna go after.
We have asked at least a dozen times, what's our inventory? Do we know that, what our inventory is?
I'm having a better idea what it is.
Right,
But you have to make the difference between town-owned inventory versus
Right.
private inventory.
Right.
Okay? Then once you have an idea of what you got that you own, then what could I feasibly assemble?
right.
So that's kind of like a long-term scenario, 3 to 5 years, in
Right.
order to have all the your ducks in a row and have the proper acreage. So what I was proposing 2 meetings ago is that for the board to really understand what it wants to target
What the target
in
market
terms of
is.
acreage, all right, in terms of the acreage that you have available that you can provide, and say, hey, we can do this like right away, because we have the infrastructure in place. We're located X number of minutes from the interstate or from the international airport. That kind of strategizing. Once we got that in place, then we can, start connecting through our global audience,
Right.
through our websites and, our different instruments.
But the inventory, knowing the inventory and its availability is really important.
Absolutely.
For example-
Long-term too. This is an ongoing
For
situation.
example-
You need to understand what your assets are.
When Federal Express moved into South Windsor, Matthew Galligan said that there were 3 landowners who owned the property on Sullivan Avenue that they built the FedEx building on. He said, I knew immediately, like looking at my database, that I could put those 3 people together. They had already agreed that they would be willing to sell their property at X number of dollars. They all agreed they would sell for X number of dollars. It wasn't X, Y, and Z. It was X number of dollars. So he could go to Federal Express and say, this land is available at so many dollars an acre, okay?
Right.
And the 3 people had signed on a dotted line or verbally committed or whatever to say that they would be willing to sell jointly to provide acreage for a large facility.
Probably had an NDA. in place.
Right.
Along Route 140,
Any big company considering a town, like, they don't wanna be like, well, give me 2 weeks so that I can try to figure out what I actually have for you. Like, we wanna be like, this is what we have available.
Sure, you're right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, talking to those people and figuring out, and like, literally behind the scenes, like, for you guys and stuff like that, have lists like, this is what we own as a town. This is the options with private parties, and literally have it listed, so that then when, there's a bug in your ear that somebody big is coming and we might have the spot for it, you can literally just like look through the Excel spreadsheet or whatever and be like, yeah, that could work, and it'll be a lot faster, and
If you
people will be
mumble
like,
and bumble,
okay,
they're gone.
right,
If you mumble and bumble, they're gone. They'll find some other
exactly,
place.
because
It doesn't do
the
that.
next person's gonna be like, right here, we got a spot for you, right here, you don't even have to wait,
You're right.
so knowing that is big.
And we actually, in Warehouse Point, we have a study going on in Warehouse Point, it's only Warehouse Point. And when we go through the study, it's many things, the study is called Stormwater Management and Village Center Development, but
Mhm.
it lists all the properties, all the sizes of each property, and the owners of each property, and a lot of other details. We have a database, we will have a database with all that on it, so that's part of the town, it's not all of it.
Right.
Oh, we know who all the landowners are,
Yeah, and if you look them up, yeah, but that's,
right? So,
yes,
right, and then you gotta go to figure out where you want the development, whether it's Route 5, 140, or,
well, that's what
so then you know,
like to
this isn't.
I mean, I've never
This is not new to
done
anybody.
that sort of thing, but I'd be willing to donate some time to helping figure that out with
I think
looking through
it's a
stuff.
really good step. About a year and a half ago, we had some money, and we talked to the Connecticut Resource Center, and they were going to inventory our property.
Mhm.
And I knew that they didn't know what they were talking about. And they stumbled, and they did nothing. I don't think we got a single valuable thing out of that.
well, we do have.
You didn't pay them, right?
Yeah.
We did pay
we're
them.
paid by the
Oh.
hour, by the project. But,
Yeah,
we
we
have a
got-
database with every single, business in town. And, not all of them have addresses and things, or email addresses, but about 20% of them do. So we figured, we can do a mailing, and I think get a lot more. So the active ones, when we have our businesses invited into a breakfast or a dinner or something, we can contact a lot of businesses, which is a good thing.
Well, again,
Retain
I always
business.
say it goes back to get a game plan and a strategy, right? So if you take a picture of Route 5, you see what everybody's acreage is.
Yeah.
Then you figure out what can we make out of these acreages, and then again, it's just as much as you got a lobby down in Hartford, you got a lobby internally, right? I've always said the biggest sell is not external, it's internal. I've done that all my life, right? You can sell the spacesuit to the government, but sell the spacesuit to the CEO of Hamilton is a battle. And that's the issue, you gotta go internally, figure out what everybody's willing, because if you have the holdouts, you can say, okay, I can assemble 20 acres here, we can assemble 30 acres here, this is only gonna be 10 acres, we can get some frontage on this property,
Right.
and then, he's right, it's inventory. We have all that database, it's just, now it's just.
Just
we know
putting
what
it
we're dealing with.
together and putting it in
Well,
one
the
spot.
town allocated resources to purchase each property, so.
Well, you can do that too, but how do we do that? We don't make money, we gotta generate revenue.
On a sidebar note, that doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's kind of economic development to me.
I think
I'm-
if we were to just plain concentrate on Larry Triple, and go to Larry and say, were you really serious about this 4 or 5 years ago? And because Larry probably owns 150 acres along Route 5. And a lot of it is developed, it happens to be hard surface now, it's impervious surface, it's parking lots. But it's leveled, it's developable right now. Peggy, who was the fellow that built the mansions out there? Chapman. I called his brother, who owns that big chunk, 110 acres
Right.
on Route 5, and I said to him, would you be willing to partner with the town? You were going to build a complex in there, but it's not happening. If we found somebody who had interest in putting in a commercial development, would you have interest? He only thought for a few seconds. He said, yes, I would.
So,
He said, I would be willing to give up frontage on Route 5 and acreage on Route 5, because I can build behind that, east of that, off of, what is it?
Phelps Road,
well,
actually.
then the town should have an official conversation with Chapman and say, okay, what do you got? You may have some development with maybe a casino, maybe something else, what do you got? So we haven't, okay, so we got you soften the blow, you soften them up a little bit. Now we gotta go in there and say, okay, are you serious? Because we wanna put this on the.
And you're right, it has to be someone,
Either
some
gotta be Bob
official,
or-
from the town.
Right.
Because all I was doing
Right,
as a
just
volunteer
soften it. No,
was
just-
exploring the question.
Right, so I
I couldn't cut a deal.
Chapman.
Right, so,
I couldn't cut it.
so there's, right
Chapman.
now, what Andy's saying is, let's talk to Chapman, let's talk to Chairman, and just see what that gets us.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Right.
Julian, what's your sidebar?
It's
My
a start.
sidebar is, any businesses coming in, can we please have a little something in it if they have to keep their yard clean? I'm just gonna put a little community cleanup,
No,
like
you have a-
interjection,
Don't we have
because, I don't wanna
that.
call out any businesses, but I just noticed that that's, there's a
Right
lot
at
of
the entrance of
mess.
our But right now at Walmart, there's a problem, and I guess it's been a problem for years.
Yeah.
But
And
you're right.
same with others
Yeah.
as well. And so, as like just the community plan, we can't do anything about businesses.
For the light officer, so
Well,
we should probably-
well, that's
Yeah.
the
For what?
question. You gotta have somebody that.
We wouldn't give the blight officer any identification when the previous administration was here. And that was a problem, because you can't knock on a door and say, you got a mess here. Well, who the hell are you?
Right.
And you'd have no identification, and that was,
We have an ordinance, isn't that passed?
Well, we need a.
And it sidebars into the beautification thing too, because, it's
Not
gross.
zoning.
No, beautification, no, we are writing a new blight ordinance. The other one didn't have teeth, and if you write it correctly and follow the timing, you really don't need a lawyer, period.
well, you're gonna have enforcement, so you are gonna be
That's what-
dealing with lawyers.
Well, and especially if we have the casino in, I just want to make sure, like, we're not inviting more trash baloney. So if there's something that we can, and maybe there's an extra tax on them, or there's a fine for, X amount of days of mess. That'll get them moving, and it'll get more money in the town.
And but you're right, an attractive
Those
town,
ideas, good
an
point.
attractive town will help, people and businesses, so.
Yeah, well, no question about it.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't really know if it sidebars into economic development, but it's
It is, so it's a good point.
partly.
Bob asked me to write the draft of the blight ordinance, and I'm working on that now. And I expect to have a draft done by the first week of June or something like that, so people can look at it, start commenting on it, so we can get something out.
That's
But what
great.
Gil said is right. Once you've got something, if it's nice and neat and all that kind of stuff, and very understandable, someone's got to go out and say, you violated this, and from now on, you have to put it in writing, I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah, you definitely.
And after you get
You
your
use
book,
one of
you've
our
written
12 quick.
2 or 3 letters, you can then start saying, and from now on, it's going to cost you $100 a day for violation.
Yeah,
And you have to mean it.
right.
You have to take them to
Has
court.
to have some
You
sort of
have to,
higher
you
up
have to do
argument.
whatever you have to do to make sure they don't do it again.
Right.
Because if you drive around town, I could take
We
you
can
to the
clean
right
up our
guy,
yards all day, but if
and I
business
could
is-
show you 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 sites that are just plain not attractive. They're just lousy.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are just plain people who park 14 cars in their backyard.
Right.
They don't mow their lawns, and you gotta have some way of getting at those people.
Yeah, I wasn't even going that direction. I was mostly focused on the businesses, but there's, I'm sure
There's a
some
fine
sort of-
line between
I know, there's got,
residential that's overflowing with cars.
Right, there's-
Businesses.
I do think that there's a different level. Yes, there's an expectation level as a resident. I think that there's a higher expectation level as a company to keep
Right.
their space clean and looking presentable. I think that is something that, especially our main strip here is lacking, is,
What's the main strip here? Route 5?
no, right
Oh,
here,
oh,
our main
Walnut.
strip.
Yes, Main Street, Guava,
Yeah.
that is, well said.
Like I said, with the blue light on, I'm not gonna call out businesses,
It
but,
just makes good business sense
Oh, it does.
to have your place look
right,
nice.
right, exactly.
If it doesn't,
It shows that you
unless you've
care.
got a real niche that you are very special at, then you're not gonna be successful. People aren't gonna go into a place that looks dirty and
Mhm.
dingy and all that kind. If I've got a classy machine shop here that makes good parts, and I got one that looks just terrible, unless it's got a great reputation of being really, really good, I won't even bother going there, will I? I go to the place that looks nice because I know they turn out good stuff.
Right.
And that isn't always true.
That's like picking a restaurant, you walk in.
You know some of the old guys that run the
clean.
Exactly.
Cadillacs
It's the
and
same
good
thing,
guys.
same thing.
They're the good guys. But yeah, you gotta have the ordinance, they have
Sounds
the enforcement,
like
so the
it.
question you gotta have the teeth behind it.
It's an ongoing fight with residential.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, go back to these, I just wanna make sure, it's clear, we get where we need to be, but it's just
how do
You know,
we capture all of it?
you know, we know that there's these big buildings. I don't know if we can handle big buildings. Maybe handle 100,000, 200,000 square foot buildings. Where some of the other towns may not want. it. That's how we begin, but we gotta contact the people.
Well, that's another thing too, figure out what the surrounding towns want, and then, like, what the companies that are around us want, and do what they don't wanna do, like,
Yeah, but I think.
have our niche be something that other towns might not
Bring in
want.
some big companies, but you're right, there's a lot of smaller parcels, and I've heard people say to me, well, I don't want a big company, I want a little company.
Yeah, and there's nothing, that's a great,
Yeah.
that's a good idea, you know, nothing wrong with good small companies. You know,
I mean, I know what you'll never get it in a town in the right form. You know how you really get growth in here? Is you get everything pre-zoned.
yeah,
I'm telling you what, if you can get shovel-ready properties, shovel-ready, you'll have it all day long. But unfortunately, under the, whatever you want to call it, home rule government, we can't get there.
But I'll ask you a question. What do you think of Sullivan Avenue in South Windsor? Good development or not so good?
No, I mean,
I think
listen,
it's
I
good.
love, what is it? 44 and Avon is what I want.
Oh, I see.
Okay, if you want to really say what
Yeah.
development. But
Senator
Sullivan,
Harmar, who just became senator for our district, he was mayor of South Windsor. Bob and I were at a meeting not long ago where he was talking about development and, what his view of the state of Connecticut. And one thing he said is, I hate what we did to Sullivan Avenue. It is not a good development. It's got the big buildings, it's got the small buildings. It should have been better organized. We have a chance to do it right.
Right.
We're starting.
Are you talking about the visual of Sullivan Avenue, which is, you see businesses all over the place?
I mean, they got truck terminals, they got warehouses, they got factories. Yeah, that was pre-zoned. That's what a pre-zoned was all, before zoning regs came out, that's what Sullivan Avenue.
And I'd like to ask Bob, from day one, when someone comes in interested in developing, till when they finally open the door, or when they finally have shovel ready, I've seen it where it's taken 3 years. The Walmart took just about 3 years to
See,
do
that,
Walmart.
if you really said, what's the right formula, let's just take Larry for example, right? Let's just say we go out there, and he says, hey, we're gonna give you 28, we'll trade it. My thing would be, all right, if somebody agrees, let's just say Joe landowner, let's just even make it, Joe landowner on Route 5 says, I'll give you 28, and we can find some sites. My comment would be, let's go to the planning and zoning and the board, and let's get that pre-approved for 20 different items. So if somebody showed up tomorrow and says, I want to build a medical building, boom.
Done.
You'll be digging in the dirt in 30 days or less.
Excellent.
That is the formula that really needs to be done. And I'll tell you what, where I am in Rhode Island, in my business, every plot is pre-zoned. There is a crane on every stinking lot because in that whole area, you can't get a town to rezone anything. But if we said
Because
that,
there's a master plan in place.
right, we
We're
said,
talking about Quonset.
yeah, Quonset, right?
Has a
But-
master plan in place.
But they what they did though is they took the land away from the town.
Right.
And they said,
Right.
you stay away town, you're out. Even though we're in your town, guess what? We're gonna give you pilot taxes, get out of the way. And the rest of the town is dying on the vine, but that place is booming because they got one leader and everything. So there's a lot of steps to this, right? We sit down with a landowner and say, hey, when you develop it, then we come up with a master plan that says, we will pre-zone. If you fit into all this category, you can build it tomorrow because it's already the wetlands has already been decided, the zoning's already been decided.
Right.
You need to have 3 trees on this lot, you need to have 1 easement into this lot.
Right. You
You build anything you want. And I'm telling you what, that'll blow any town away instantly.
Let me say something. In addition to that, I think the biggest enemy of a new person coming in to wants to develop something in our town, is that developer. If they don't do it right, they complain like hell when they don't get a wetlands approval, when they don't ask for it in a timely manner.
That's what this does, it eliminates.
Right, there's mitigation down at the Walmart, it took a while, it was, well, maybe we can get more, and for that board, planning and zoning, maybe we get more, and It's just kind of.
Feel free.
And that would be the experiment that I would suggest, that you pick a landowner.
Yes.
We pick a landowner that's willing to work with the town,
That wasn't
and we
the
go
issue.
through one process and see if that does
Okay.
anything differently, and we promote the fact that this is
You
shovel
guys
ready
gotta come to zoning
in
meeting.
30
I was the
30
liaison when that happened.
And
From the
there's
Board of
there's
Selectmen.
probably 10 properties in town that we could do that with.
You could do that right now.
Sure.
With your town-owned property. Just
Right.
pick one.
Right. I'm telling you,
Yeah, low hanging fruit.
it is low hanging fruit.
You have no one to ask. You have the land already.
So I throw out the challenge, but I'm not the
That's a
guy.
separate conversation.
But I throw out the challenge to the town to get pre-approved, shovel-ready products,
I think that's
ready
a
to go.
good
And I'm
challenge.
telling you, that, if I wanna go to any other town in the area, and I could be digging in 30 days, time is money.
That's
I'm digging in 30
Exactly.
days.
Just email it
Okay,
tomorrow.
let me ask a question.
I'm doing it.
What two things are we gonna do
Yeah.
tonight on a schedule? What two things are we gonna set up on a schedule? And put-
Website.
And put a date down,
The website.
and mean it, and come back to the next meeting 1 month from now with progress. What are the two things?
One is the website.
I have no control over
Website is
people.
one, I'll buy that, and you and I will work on that. And what are we gonna do between now and next month?
This is what I hope to accomplish. I would hope to have that front page looking, and I'd hope to have,
In a month?
yeah. I think I can do it quicker. I
No,
got
no,
it.
no, no, you said the end of summer, that's why I'm like, oh,
Oh,
you
just the front
don't.
page, I'm sorry.
Oh, the front page.
But,
Yeah, you can do
but,
that.
but, and then I'll have the drop downs, and so then we can start to fill content, we'll fill some of the content too.
Yeah, you know.
So we're gonna have a front page,
Yeah.
it's gonna have 3 hit spots, or 4 hit spots.
Four hits.
And we're gonna have that page so it's functional.
Yes,
Okay. And we will have a list of the drop downs.
we'll have some functionality, but I wasn't gonna, we'll have some functionality.
It won't be fully launched until the end of summer.
Yeah, but that's what we'll have to fill in, is the drop downs.
Well, and even, even if you worked on, like, you focused on one drop down right now, the other ones could be drop downs, but they could say coming soon, like, or coming by,
Well, and that would be just for us. I think we'll roll out a pretty good
right, okay.
thing. But, there is a lot of information.
There
She said
is.
80%, and I think we can get.
Well, we don't need to
50%.
Well,
get anything built, but we have 80% of the information already.
Right, no, I understand that
That's what I'm saying.
completely, it takes hours to
So-
build
Right,
a
build
website.
it, correct.
I would say in the month, we'll be ready
Front
to
page.
start popping. Yeah, front
Yeah.
page, and also we'll have some structure, and we can have ideas of what we want to add next. About,
1-800 East Windsor better be step 2. Right? I mean, if you have a webpage, at very least content is that, call us.
Yeah.
This is the first one we're gonna do.
Okay.
Beyond
That's
that,
the one thing. What's the other?
And
Well, beyond that-
what's the other thing is,
I don't
how
have,
can we get started on this land inventory in some meaningful manner, like going out and talking to Larry Tribble and see if he really meant what he said
well, wait a
5 years
minute.
ago?
Ruben just said that we own land ourselves.
Well, I know, but one thing I know that he's probably talking about is the Kogan property, and that, I wouldn't go too close to that.
Sorry.
There are two, but that requires some more offline conversations.
Yeah, and then, there's property on
I
the
think
side,
it's-
the high school.
Are there restrictions on like the Colgate property?
Is there any property that we have control that we can pre-zone right now?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so that'll be
Yes,
our,
Yes, but
That'll
we're got
be-
yesterday.
Okay.
We need to
So
talk
if you
about-
the start of
Let's
that will be
identify,
between,
let's
yeah.
identify 5 properties we can rezone.
You know, Ruben's a very busy guy, but I'd be very happy if he went out and talked to 3
Well,
landowners and got some
Andy,
reasonable commitment.
Andy.
Put your ducks
We
in a row
have
first.
our own land first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get an
Let's focus,
inventory of
let's
that
focus
first so
on
that
what
you
we
know what you
have,
want.
see what the
to add.
process is,
Right.
to say that, so when we go talk to the landowners, hey, Mr. Landowner, right, we have 3 pieces of property that the town pre-zoned. Here's the steps that we took. We would like to do the same exact thing for you. Again, I am on board with you, I am in the same lane as you, I'm in the same car, I'm just in the 3rd row.
Right,
Right, you're gonna get there before I get there, and I'm saying, let me drive for a couple minutes, and then but let's, if we can control our own destiny, do that first. So
right.
that we don't stumble on ourselves, And then we can say, guess what, Mr. Landowner, then we can talk to 3 landowners, here's what we did, here's what we're gonna do to your property, and here's what we, next town meeting, you wanna go this, no, because we've already done. That's what I like.
Well, and another
Sounds
thing
good.
too, with understanding our property first and what it is that we have available is, we might be like, holy moly, we have this nugget right here, all we need is to talk to, you know, landowner over here, and
Next
we
door.
can expand that incredibly, and you only have to talk to one person, and boom, we have an option, you know, so knowing and understanding, like, okay, we have this much small areas, this much medium, this much large, where do we want to add, and how much land, you know, how many locations do we want for large options and medium options and small options, so that there's, you know, a good array of options without having to poke too many people before actually knowing what we need or want.
Okay, so when we're gonna do some townhome property.
That's what I think, Andrew, you think?
Yeah.
Good first step?
Yep.
Then we can figure out what works, what doesn't work quickly, and see what we're pushing.
And then next month can be, figure out,
And I'd like to learn what that process is, right?
poking,
Yeah,
poking a
okay.
couple
Like, what
people.
do we need
That's
to
very
do?
important.
I'd like to see maybe at the next meeting, here's your property, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We need to go to town zoning meeting, we need to go to the wetlands commission, we need to go to this.
I agree.
It's not that much you need,
What's that?
what you need to do. When I came in, that's exactly what you need to do.
Well, there's a cheap flow chart out there.
No,
Okay, we'll start to do it.
I get that, but I'm just saying for our own
Yeah.
purposes, is this 1 month that we
Yeah,
can do it in?
I know.
Then we go to
That's
steps,
pretty
we have
aggressive,
to.
but
No,
we can get there.
I don't, I mean, I know it's on a flow chart, but it's our own property.
But even on the flow chart, you have to fill in names and.
But it's our own
Oh, it's
property,
like a
right?
short chart, right, the flow chart, I haven't seen it.
But is the town, are you gonna go in front of the planning and zoning and ask for zoning? That's what I'm saying, is that I don't, if we
That
own the
would
property,
be- That would be, Ruby.
right, if we own the property, it's the same process.
Yeah, that is, it would have, yeah.
So as far as the properties go, my understanding is that's Ruben's zone of
Ruben.
expertise.
Well, Ruby's a town planner,
Right.
and so,
How long does it normally take to, because I'm like overly green, but how long does it normally take to like plan and zone one location? Because,
well,
sounds
the
like it
whole
takes a
town is
while.
zoned right now.
Right,
Agriculture and business and a lot of others, they break it down, probably Peggy can say more, but in various divisions.
like
and we kind of-
Ruben's to-do list for the month isn't quite as easy as like a real estate agent who can just like toss
Well,
a
but
bit
to
on.
rezone, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you have a piece of property that's, let's say, zone business or industrial, whatever you want to call it, okay, and so then a person would come in and say, yeah, we want to build something on these 34 acres. And then the first thing we have to do is say, okay, let's take a look and see if there's any wetlands on there. Because if there's wetlands, you
That's a
can't
whole
build in
other part.
wetlands. And
Right.
if there is wetlands, then you have to decide how you're going to handle it, whether you're going to have the drain off will maybe come into catch basins, so the sediment will fall out, and then you can,
All the
water
details
would
of
flow.
that.
So that has to work, you have to work out, you have to, and they would actually have to have I'm not sure what application, but they would actually have to have a chart for the
Yeah.
different land heights, what do you call those, whatever, and contours and things like that. So that would pass, and the wetlands would say, okay, this is what we want you to do, we want you to, and then, and also, and then we go to planning and zoning, and they'd say, well, what are you gonna build? And it fits in with all the building, and they might say, well, we wanna look at the traffic flow to and from you, when's the traffic flow? And they might make some suggestions on how to change the entrances and the exits and things like that. So it's basically, you gotta satisfy wetlands first, then you gotta satisfy the zoning, that you're meeting the zoning.
Right.
And the planning statement, not building.
Right,
roads,
so-
lot.
So how the town would work, in theory, right, the town would take a plot of land, let's say the town owns 20 acres on Route 5. They would say, what's the maximum size building we're gonna put on this? 150,000 square, we're gonna have an entrance here, we're gonna have an entrance there, we're gonna have parking here, we're gonna have trees here, we're gonna do that. Technically, right, isn't the process with this, with the master plan? is you go to the P and Z and say, this is what we want to build, yes or no. Wetlands, this is what we want to build, yes or no. Everybody approves it, and then somebody has it on the shelf that says, plot number 7732 is already pre-zoned for 150,000 square foot building, here it is.
The problem with just coming in here and filling out your first application and you go through the steps that you mentioned, Bob, is these people meet once a month. So come next month and next month and next month, and that's the way it'll be special, be sure.
Right. I
Right.
mean, you know,
Yeah,
we're
brainstorming
not,
sessions.
we're not opposed to not developing these things, we want it too. I want my taxes cheaper as well as you guys.
There are occasions for a special meeting.
Because that's my thought.
Sardelli, what, is it
Yeah.
a special
If
meeting?
we went,
Right.
not plan, and they said, okay, we'll do it. If it's still a foregone,
It's a good problem.
let's go and that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so,
That's my only opinion.
so the goal is 5 locations?
I don't care if it's one location. Let's start with one. I mean,
Okay, sure.
let's start with one.
Next month will be 2
Identify-
locations.
No, identify the site.
Takes longer than that, but you want to start off baby steps.
Right.
Planning, because you can have all the planning that you want on paper, but then the fundamentals that you were banking on are completely flipped because something happened in the national or global economy. With the tariffs and all these things, I mean, they have an impact on what you are trying to do on the ground. But to your point, if we're having an ability to say, the cars that I do have, that I do control where I put them, why don't I make them
Make sure I know what suit they are.
so darn palatable to somebody that would say, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance.
Right, and then again, this is the opinion of me and nobody else, is it's gonna be very difficult for people to move from outside of Connecticut into Connecticut with all the regulations, all the zoning and all the taxes, but who's gonna come to East Windsor? People that are in Connecticut looking to expand. So if I'm a tool manufacturer in some other part of the state, and like, boy, I got a 50,000 square foot building, but I really need to get to 90. How quickly can I get from 50 to 90? Because I gotta get out of this one quickly. I wanna get into this one, I want my employees going, I wanna go. We've got a 90,000 foot rent to go. They're like, you know what, boom, I'm going there, because guess what? I can be in there and I can be shovel ready in 30 days or less, building a building in 60 days or 90 days or 180 days. I'm in business with my Butler building. That's the company that's gonna come to East Windsor. I love to get a FedEx, and we can do that. Those are few and far between, but there's more people moving around because they're already used to the regulations, they're already used to the taxes, they already have the staffing. And when you talk to how many people that are moving around, most of them are just moving locally. Right? Wasn't there one company that's coming to East Windsor that's really, yeah, so good, local, ready to go. Because those are the folks that understand Connecticut. They know how to deal with Connecticut. If they can make it easy for the town to say, we're ready to go, that's the way to go. So now we're on tape, we're gonna see 5 other towns gonna have someone ready.
Now we're on tape, now we're
You see, that's what I'm saying, that's what's,
Yeah.
that's really when you really boil down to who's gonna come to East Windsor. Quicker, easier, somebody that's already doing business in the state of Connecticut, or fairly close. When I say that, Springfield, so maybe somebody. from
That's
the
fairly
north side.
close.
That understands
Yeah.
the deal versus somebody coming in from Tennessee that's like, oh my God, we're coming here because we want to supply parts for Pratt Whitney, we're gonna move up here, but again, those aren't gonna be every day, whereas people are gonna be shuffling within the state, I think.
Okay, well, that's good, we got our goals.
So, we're good, and one goal is let's pick a site
Okay.
from, and I don't have that information with me or you have that.
Moving ahead.
That is above my pay grade and not on the highway that I'm trying.
You're down to general discussion with all this, or still on the website?
We're well off the website.
Yeah,
We had
Sardelli is,
Yeah, Sardelli is there. Not much to say about it. It was in the business news, but
Sorry, I didn't have those.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's,
I just shared.
no, it's fun.
So I wouldn't, I don't know if we,
Most of it.
Yeah.
I guess I would
Seems like
just
we did
move on
it all.
to general discussion.
Yeah.
The other, one thing that's happened recently is Calamar started to dig, that's that, on Route 140, the big dirt pile.
Okay,
And so now they're starting to build 122 unit senior housing
okay.
apartments, and they're market value, so they're gonna help a lot. They're gonna help Sophia's Plaza.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a good thing.
You have a walkway going from there up to Sophia's.
I hope so, yeah.
Oh, I know where you're talking.
Right across from the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yep.
Yeah, across the
But
Dunkin'
no
Donuts,
bridge to the
yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, we'll just put a Dunkin' Donuts on that side, all right.
Easy access for both sides.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So that's kind of the only question.
They're gonna wanna be that close to the casino.
Huh?
The casino, yeah.
I said, are they
Well,
gonna
we're
wanna be
gonna
that
have a
close?
bus for a little trolley. We have a trolley.
I'm not gonna say it too loud.
Bill's trolley.
Gil's gonna have a trolley that goes between there and wherever they wanna go.
There you go. Yeah, we get the casino, that's when we get a trolley. It's like all around the East Windsor.
I have some friends that might get you one.
Oh, great.
Are we done?
Unless there's any other topics or comments, questions or comments? What do you got, right? The goals, a little bit to the time, continue on the website, and maybe the planning office, we can get a site and kind of figure out how to attack the strategy. The follow-up strategy is to go out to people in the world and say, here's what you think we can do, and do you want to participate in some of this stuff? I think that's an idea. And then, Bob wants to, keep on recruiting people. I mean, that's an open topic.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I just don't know what difference he wants us to do, but.
No, I think people are starting to show up. She really showed up, and I thought you were Maria, because there was another woman that came in.
Maria was at the police commission meeting and said she was a former member of this board?
Yes, she
Yeah,
was.
she said
was
that she
busy,
wanted
she
to-
left, but she said she's
To rejoin.
doing something
We
different.
hope
so,
you
yeah.
pursue rejoin.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list between now and is submit an application.
Do you remember she was the lady that
Laura,
you had to ask leave because she had a job in Hartford that she was unable to attend the meeting?
Yeah, she had to move. She was working on her house and then she had to move. Then she was working.
No.
Hours.
She lives up near me someplace, and she was walking by last summer, and she asked about it, and I said, well, I really thought that she had a lot of good ideas, she was a contributor, but I said, if you're gonna have the same problems you had before, and that is your work schedule
Yeah,
takes you out for 6 months at a time, then
yeah,
it really doesn't have any value
right,
to the commission.
right.
And she said, oh no, that's all changed.
Yeah.
So she has another job, or she had,
Yeah.
different hours or something like that, and I think should have value.
that's good. We'll get some people.
Well, meet some people and come up with a strategy.
We got it.
Plan, we'll write it down. Check it off as we execute it.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, if there's nothing else, let's call the meeting adjourned.
7:30.
7:30.
Okay?
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for coming in. 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got some interesting people to help with the Apollo spaceship that was so much stranded. The CO2, you seen that they had to build on the spaceship?
Oh, really?
He developed that.
Oh,
That's
cool.
great.
Which one?
See you in the morning.
Andy.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
He was in charge of 1,000 people, and they built the environmental system for the spacesuits,
That's amazing, Andy.
and also the module, we brought them to the moon, and
Yes.
the moon lander, and got them back. He
Remember
was
when
in
we were
Apollo
talking
13,
about
bringing them home.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that
You
is.
guys will be on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time.
I don't know
It's
if
good to see you.
they put some zoning with the Brownfield and North Road.
I'll see you
A large
soon.
landowner with a dog.
Oh, do you by chance, do you already know, so we need 5 people.
Right, well, this is,
Yes.
so we have to start meeting with all
Or,
the, I remember the gentleman said, but we did have a, and we had,
And
no,
you
no,
zone through 5.
we haven't pre-zoned it for a building.
which day?
It's only pre-zoned.
Is that?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So you know
For
what
voting.
kind of uses you're gonna have.
We haven't uses, but if somebody comes in and they drop some
I'll try to
pizza,
get it.
land out, we're still gonna talk about ingresses and egresses. erosions and still stuff, so we're
Yeah,
halfway
so
there.
we'll go and use
And
the
then I
lady
have
two.
somebody else.
Tell that
And
to
then three, and then I'm
So,
gonna
and
call
then
it
check.
the garbage.
Okay, that's gonna be his preliminary
And
time.
then somebody else has a couple.
And he's
more,
gonna
so
direct them
I think we
to
can start maybe.
where they need
June
food.
6th
You guys
is our
talked
next
about
meeting.
That's what I was wondering, is which
Yeah,
date
they
that
meet
was
once a
in
month.
October,
Okay,
100%.
Sardelli,
So,
I had two pieces to
if you wanna wait.
Sardelli had the piece
the
where they're
following
gonna,
meeting,
Yeah.
That would be.
they
June
had the
20th.
easement over on
We
the farmer.
could
property.
add three,
So the easement on the
first
farmer
three,
property.
Yeah.
and six, or anybody who has an application, and we'll add the
Should
rest.
have been
Okay.
decided before you,
Alright, cool, yeah, I just,
the PCC building.
me and Erica
here,
didn't wanna, you know,
okay?
say too much details, like putting it out there too much,
Oh, I
because
see.
But-
we want to be able
You're
to
on
come to the
camera.
meeting and understand what it is that you guys are wanting with
Well,
the.
no, I mean, it's really up to you.
It's just,
You
you know,
determine what you want to do. We have a general, and
We
we look
did
back
make
in our
recommendations for that.
minutes.
Yeah,
And now it's probably back in November.
as long as I have the month, I can look at that.
Yeah, and you look at the agenda.
Okay.
Say,
And ask for the board of
beautification,
selectmen.
yeah, the board of selectmen
Land
says,
rezone, then there's one
start
meeting.
beautification,
Yeah.
the charge is,
That's-
there's some
It's
general.
it's hard to describe what I deal with on a daily basis, but